Hey everyone, Tony G here. So in this next video, we're going to continue working on the lower extremity, but this time we're going to target our hamstrings. Now, this one is going to be a little bit hard for me to show you, so bear with me. You're going to have to use your imagination a little bit. But what I have found is that if you were working on self-releasing your own hamstrings, if you come to the edge of the chair and you straighten your legs slightly, this helps because not only do you get clearance from the chair, but your hamstrings are relaxed. Now, if you were to do this standing and where you're going to work on both your lateral hamstrings and your medial hamstrings, this can potentially work. However, because when you're standing, you are using your hamstrings, there is going to be a certain level of tension that's already through there. So typically when I am working with massaging, I like to make sure the muscle has as little tension as possible so you get a true sense of what's going on. If while you're massaging and the muscle is tense, sometimes depending on the level of tension, you can actually hit a certain part in your hamstring and make your knee buckle. The last thing you want to be doing is standing, self-massaging yourself and your knee buckles, and then you give or you fall. That could be catastrophic, especially in my line of work, and you don't want that to happen, okay? So keeping that in mind, we're going to kind of sit on the edge. Now, same kind of rules apply with any form of percussion massage gun. You want to make sure that you're not driving the gun into you at full speed, okay? If you do this, you're going to burn out the motor. The gun's going to be useless to you. You're going to have to buy a new one. Or you could cause superficial bruising or peripheral nerve damage. You don't want this, okay? Keeping those in mind, making sure to let the gun do the work, not you try to drive the gun through you to do the work. We can go into the massage. Now, if at any point while you're massaging you're getting numbness, tingling, and burning sensation, you can be compressing a nerve. You don't necessarily want to be doing this, so stop what you're doing. Maybe you should get yourself checked out just in case, okay? If all those things are cleared, then what we can do is we can go straight into the massage, okay? Now, typically when you are working with a percussion massage gun, you want to make sure that you're working anywhere between 30 seconds and 2 minutes, with 5 minutes being the absolute cutoff, okay? I found that anything more than this can lead to extra soreness, extra bruising, and you don't necessarily want to do this, so let's just keep that in mind, okay? Now, we're going to turn the massage gun on. Typically, I will start anywhere between level 1 and 2, depending on your sensitivity. If you are someone who's more athletic, then you could definitely use a higher setting, but you always want to go out slow. Listen to your body, right? The name of the game is figuring out what our bodies are telling us so that we can give it what it wants, and then it can give us what we want, which is performance, right? So we're going to go to level 2. I'm going to start on the lateral hamstring. Now, because, and then timer's going, okay? Now, because this muscle group tends to be a little bit larger, especially than like the biceps or triceps, right? Your legs tend to typically be bigger. They may need more time when it comes to massage, okay? And again, I'm just going up and down, legs nice and relaxed, and we're just scanning for any truly high areas of tension, okay? Now, when you have an area of high tension, this is what's commonly called a trigger point. Now, a trigger point is when muscles tend to overlap, and that overlap causes tension. That tension can lead to dysfunction, especially through the low back, hips, and knee complex. So keeping that in mind, it's important to make sure that you are massaging yourself at least, you know, every other day, if not once every 3 days. If you are someone who is more active or who's like a runner, because I know it's marathon season, you need to be making sure that you are releasing your legs, because tight hamstrings, you can have a hamstring strain, hamstring sprain. It could tweak your lower back. It can even, you know, depending on how tight your legs are, it can actually pull your sacrum out of place. So keeping these things in mind, we're just going to kind of work on the hamstring, okay? So now, at this point, I am more like the middle, the back of my leg, and I'm going to go towards the inside. Now, I'm going to be 100% honest with you. The outside of your hamstrings tend to be not as tight as the inside, because there's a lot of different musculature that also gets very close to the hamstring sometimes. You can work on your adductor group while thinking that you are working on your hamstring group. Now, the hamstring does go all the way up and connect into the ischial tuberosity, which basically, for us normal folk is your buttocks, okay? So don't be shy when it comes to taking the massage gun and going all the way up your leg. Now, gents, do make sure that things are properly positioned, because the last thing you want is a percussion massage gun moving at 100 reps per minute to start hitting certain things. And we're just gonna work on the leg, okay? We're coming up on 2 minutes now and 15 seconds. Now, like I said, because this is a larger muscle group, we're going to spend slightly more time just kind of scanning the muscles. Now, I have found that behind the knee, on the inside, in this particular area here, you have your popliteus and your hamstrings. Now, this area tends to be the highest tension area throughout the entire leg, and if you notice, I actually stopped the massage gun, may have you actually stop there and kind of work there for a little bit. Now, when you are trying to release a gun using this tactic, you're going to hold the gun in this area and just wait till you feel a release or a give of tension into that muscle. Once that's done, you're going to move along, okay? And that makes 3 minutes. I'm going to shake the leg out. Feels good. And we're going to move on to the next side, okay? Now, when you're switching sides, it doesn't matter if you start on the inside or the outside, but ideally you do want to be making sure that you're giving your right leg and left leg adequate amounts of attention, okay? You don't want your hamstring tension to be tighter on one side as compared to the other. This can throw your pelvis out of whack. So that's why it's important to make sure that you're doing this with time, because I feel like if you're doing the same amount of time, then you're more likely than not going to make sure that your legs are equal, especially when it comes to stiffness, neuromuscular stiffness. Now, if you were to follow this up with the hamstring stretch series, which we produced earlier on, this can ultimately optimize your performance, okay? Now, kind of an interesting concept, right? Because muscles can be both stiff and tight and weak, okay? So therefore, by releasing and stretching a muscle, you decrease the stiffness and you actually increase its neuromuscular activity, which can therefore increase performance, okay? What that means to you is that if your leg is tight, you're never going to be able to get the most out of it. So you want to make sure that you are loosening up the tissues, you're getting a good stretch in, you're getting a good massage in, and then you're also working these muscles out. Yeah, and that's just about it, okay? So we're gonna work here. We got 1 minute 30. My left side is not as tense. Of course, my knee is slightly bent. So if I straighten my leg a little bit more, this is gonna offset the slack slightly, right? Your hamstrings are responsible for flexing your knee, so if your knee is flexed, there might be some tension generated through there. And again, we're kind of just working on the inner thigh here, working towards the outer area, just scanning the entire back of the leg. Now, if you find that area behind the knee, on the inside of your leg, this tends to be a trigger point / area, okay? Some research has shown that the popliteus can store up to 300% tension after any kind of meniscus damage, ACL damage, any post-surgical types of injuries. So you want to make sure that you're releasing this muscle, especially if you notice that your leg for some reason isn't going as straight as possible. You want to really just make sure that everything is nice and loose, okay? Because the hamstrings can flex the knee. If they are very, very tight, they will not allow for full extension, which can affect your walking, especially if you are post-surgical, like something like total knee replacement. It's important that your leg gets full extension, especially during these times, okay? And we're coming up on 3 minutes. And relax, okay? And that is the hamstring percussion massage gun, okay? I hope this video helps. Remember, we have to make sure that we have to keep everything loose, especially if we want to be more active, more productive, and just kind of move around this world, okay? Thank you everyone for watching. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next video.